Well, let's go live to Washington now. We can speak to Samir Shahata. He's Assistant Professor of Arab Politics at Georgetown University. Professor, welcome to BBC News. What do you make of the United States' reaction to all this, right from the beginning to what President Obama is now saying?
Well, I mean, clearly President Obama's words are going to be well received in Cairo and in other cities in Egypt today. Of course, the history is that the United States has supported the Mubarak regime for the 29 years, 4 months, and 5 days that it's been around. So that's not a very good thing. And of course, the American administration got off to a very bad start on January 25 when Secretary Clinton called the Mubarak regime a stable government. But the words today were very good, and I think President Obama wants to make sure that whatever regime may be, the relationship between Egypt and the United States continues to be, or is a positive one, hopefully a better one than it was in the past, because it'll be a relationship, hopefully, with 83 million Egyptians and not just with one person.
That's a very good point, isn't it? Because this just shows how difficult it has been for President Obama and the Washington administration, because up to now, of course, the United States has had a very good relationship with Egypt, and it's needed Egypt to keep that peace with Israel.
Well, and it still needs Egypt, not only with regard to the peace with Israel, but with regard to military vessels passing through the Suez Canal, overflight rights, supporting American policy in the region, and so on. And a new Egypt, I think, also would benefit from a good relationship with the United States. However, I think the relationship's going to be different. I don't think it's going to be as pliant or as much of a client state, some would say, as it was under the Mubarak regime. There will be negotiation, and hopefully the will of the Egyptian people will be entered in whatever arrangement, whatever agreements are made between the United States and Egypt in the future.
Would you be concerned at all, though, about what the future shape of the new Egypt might take? I'm suggesting, of course, that it might go the wrong way for the United States.
I'm not that concerned. I mean, it's not in Egypt's interests to be opposed to all American policies. Clearly, there's some serious areas of difference, whether it has to do with Gaza, for example, and the blockade, which I would think, if a government comes to power in Egypt that is representative of the Egyptian people, will be lifted, at least with regard to transit and humanitarian aid and so on, and other policies. But it's certainly not in the interests of Egypt to be belligerent in the region, or to try to, acquire nuclear weapons for reasons and so on. So Egypt has all kinds of things on its plate, on its agenda, having to do with pushing forward the process of democracy, constitutional change, getting rid of the emergency law, and then rebuilding the economy. So I don't think, deterioration of the relationship with the U.S. is something that's likely in the short term.
Samir Shahata, many thanks indeed for being with us from Georgetown University. Well, our world correspondent John Simpson is also in Cairo, and he's been how important the events in